Tudo beleza aquí Panema Leaks. Hoy entrevistamos a Dylan, cantante de Spanish Love Songs. Okay. You are currently playing on a UK tour. How is it going?
It's going great. It's nice to be back over here and sort of playing for audiences that we haven't got to play for a very long time. And everybody's excited, and I think it's just a good time.
Okay, you are playing with Hat Mulligan as a headliner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you happy with the live shows you have played so far?
Yeah, I mean, we did a small tour in Australia before this, so we are sort of geared up and running and working the way that we like to work. And so, yeah, it feels good. It feels like we're back in business.
Okay, perfect. So you have recently released your album No Joy. It has very good reviews from the music media. Do you pay attention in these reviews?
I mean, yeah, that we see when they come through, and like obviously our publicist sends them to us. I don't know if they send us any bad ones, but I haven't seen any like outwardly negative ones. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to pay attention, even as much as you try, as much as you say you don't want to pay attention, or as much as you try not to pay attention, like these things just come up, and it just is what it is. And the same thing with social media comments and stuff like that. We're all just humans on this side of things. So we like yesterday we were joking because we had some guy who I don't know who he is, just like on a Instagram comment was like, "You guys suck," and we were just like, "Oh, okay."
Do you have
I'm
haters
glad.
in social media?
I
Do you have
guess. I mean,
haters?
yeah,
Yes. Wow.
yeah, we have to. I mean, that's good. That's like a next level of band, right? Like as soon as people start hating you, you've done something right. And it's just like, thank you for taking the time out of your life to tell us that we suck. That's fine.
Okay. I wrote by my own review on the Spanish website Rock Song, where I said that the album is very good. I congratulate you. In my opinion, there is a great phrase that says, it's so hard to find a sign when every ad says you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Is the world worse since the pandemic time?
Is the world worse?
Worse, yes.
Nah, I don't think it's better or worse. I think it's probably just the same with different,
Different.
different things going on. Yeah, I don't think any time is any better or worse than any other time. Life is always pretty hard, and there's always people out to ruin things, and there's always people trying to just make the best of it. And you know, if anything, all the pandemic did was sort of highlight a lot of societal inequity. And I think maybe people are waking up to the fact that hoarding of wealth is not good.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if it's any worse, but I'd say it's not any better.
I think that this album is more optimistic than the previous one. Do you think?
100%. That was kind of one of the goals when setting out to work on it, is just sort of being sort of tired of being oppressively bleak and just wanting to be sort of hopefully bleak, and try to look at the world, I don't know, through just a different approach to the songs and the album and the characters and the stories and everything that was going on in it. And yeah, I think it came through. I think it comes through in the music. I think it comes through in the lyrics. And it's something we were very conscious of, because there's no point in repeating ourselves. And if the last one was the angry, sad album that's very crushing, let's try to be crushing in a different way, And this one was definitely how can we still be as impactful emotionally and sad, or whatever people want from it, but in a different way, and maybe not a way that sort of bashes you over the head, but instead sort of washes over you.
Okay. Talking about the musical part of No Joy, I personally think that you wanted to give more importance to the synths. Why did you take this decision?
I think it just happened naturally. I think it's just a case of, you know, where we were as musicians and what we were working on. And we never sit down and say this has to be like this, or this part has to be like this. I think it's, you sort of let the songs dictate what needs to be happening. And I know that we definitely wanted to, you know, as part of that, like I said, as part of that optimism, sort of not beat people over the head with a wall of guitars. And we have a
Yes.
really wonderful instrument in the band that not a lot of other bands, at least in our world, get to use. And we have all these synthesizers. So we figured we'd let that sort of come in. And I feel like the synth itself is such a hopeful instrument. You know, if you use it right, it can get very sort of cinematic and futuristic, but also sort of nostalgic at the same time.
Yeah, nostalgia. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's this great thing where it can simultaneously remind you of the past and make you think of the future. And I love that, and I think that just sort of bled into these songs, which themselves are sort of, you know, lyrically also about sort of looking back and trying to figure out where things went wrong and trying to correct it, and also looking forward at you know, the future and what that's going to hold for me and the people I love. And you know, it's not it's not great, but I think
It
I
sounds
think the
great.
synth
It sounds uh,
yeah, no, and I think the synth helps do that a lot, is sort of, yeah, twist it on its head a little bit.
okay. What do you consider to be your major influences personally?
Oh, I mean, there's too many to count, but obviously if you're listening to this album, you'll hear, you know, my love of Bruce Springsteen shining through.
Bruce
My
Springsteen.
love of,
I
yeah, my love of, oh, sorry.
this No Joy reminds me at Nebraska in some parts. It's a
Interesting.
big influence for you, this album, or
Nebraska, yeah, that whole era, you know, actually, I mean, his entire early career, but especially, you know, once you start hitting Darkness on the Edge of Town, The River, Nebraska, Born in the USA, and Tunnel of Love, like that to me is just a, and I might as well, I mean, Born to Run's right before that. So that entire run basically from 1976 to 1987 is like an untouchable 10 years of music. So
yes.
yeah, I think it all kind of shines
Do,
through. And
do you like
I
Tunnel
would
of
say Born
Love?
in the USA. I
Tunnel
love
of
Tunnel of
Love
Love. I think it's,
is the album that
yeah.
critics says that is the worst, but for me it's one of the best albums for.
I Yeah, no, critics are wrong about that album. That album is great. It is an untouchable. And honestly, when we were working on this album, me and our producer Colin talked about Tunnel of Love constantly, and some of like the drum tones and like some of like the stuff in songs. So I think, you know, because that was Bruce's synth era, right? Born in the USA and Tunnel of Love is when the synths really started taking off. So I think that was also a huge sort of you know, reference point.
Okay, I would like to know your opinion about some albums. I
Okay.
Jim from Your Mate's Drug Charge. Do you like it?
Drug Church,
Yes.
yes. Love Drug Church. Have never got to play with them. We're on the same label. Yeah, love them. Their last two albums, especially, have been perfect.
American Idiot of Green Day. Do you like it?
I mean, it has some songs. I think it's one of those albums that suffers from being uh, such a piece of the time and being possibly overplayed at the time. But I mean, those are some undeniable songs on there. I like the songs that weren't the singles. Like Jesus of Suburbia, I think is a great,
Yes.
great
Yes.
opera song. But the singles are pretty cheesy at this point. Like they're very burnt out, you know. Boulevard of Broken Dreams was playing at a bar the other day and we were just laughing about it. I mean, it's a great song though. Like it's catchy, so you know,
Yeah, it's
it
pop
is what it
music.
is.
More than punk
Yeah.
is pop music.
Yeah.
Okay, Jawbreaker, Dear You. It
Which
could
one?
be a big
Oh,
influence.
Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker, Dear You. Yeah, I love Dear You. I think it's the best Jawbreaker album. Anybody who thinks differently is wrong. I can't believe there was ever debate if it was a good album or not, because that's such a joke. It's a great album.
Okay, doing the interview from Spain, there is a mandatory question. why are you
Okay.
call it Spanish love songs?
Oh man. That's fine. Yeah, we joked that we wouldn't talk about this anymore. No, it was just sort of
Sorry.
no, 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 it's really funny. I don't think I've ever been asked by somebody from Spain, and I feel like I owe it to the country to explain. It honestly has nothing to do with Spain, but it has everything to do with our drummer Ruben and I growing up in Southern California,
Okay.
and Ruben being of Mexican descent. And especially in LA, there was a bus ad for a law firm called Firma Dominguez, and the slogan would be like "Yo soy Juan Dominguez," and yeah, right. And it's like this cheesy guy who's like "Yo soy Juan Dominguez," and so when we first started the band, I was like, we should just call it "Yo soy Juan Dominguez," and everybody was like, that is a terrible name, and we took it from there though, and Ruben was like, Ruben and I were kicking around ideas, and we are like, there was something in like Spanish, like something could be fun, it could be playful, and like point to us being a Los Angeles band, right, where there's like this fusion of cultures, and and yeah, I said like we're just writing like all of these songs are kind of like these hard on our sleeves like norteño songs, you know what I mean, like stuff that would play on the radio growing up, even like driving to the beach and you like scan through the different radio stations and you have the one channel where everything's in Spanish, and I was like, yeah, what about some these are just like Spanish love songs, and that for
It's
whatever stupid reason we said yes to that, which is not a good name, we know that, but we've owned it, and yeah, now everybody just assumes that, I don't know, that we're dicks who just chose a name randomly for no association whatsoever. It does get us in
okay.
trouble with Spain though,
It's
because
not
Spain's like, why don't
about
you come?
Julio Iglesias or Enrique Iglesias or something like this.
I mean, it could be though, because I mean, we love those songs. It could be like about Selena or the Iglesias family or Mana or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like this is stuff that is in our world.
Okay.
So we're not
Personally,
opposed.
I think that is a great name for a band.
Thank you, thank you. Listen, and we want to come to Spain with the name because I feel like it'll either be very successful or everybody will hate it. Because we had a lady in Australia who was from Spain, I think, and she had bought a ticket to the show, and she came inside and she just like read about it in the newspaper and bought a ticket. And she came inside and she saw all of our merch was in English, and she's like, "What the hell is this? Like, this isn't in Spanish?" And our tour manager had to explain, like, no, they're an American band. And she asked for a refund and left. She was
For a
so
real
mad.
found.
So
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, we know that it can be deceiving.
Okay. On the next tour that you have announced in Europe as a headliner, I have seen that you will not to come to Spain. What
We
difficulties?
tried.
Sorry,
Oh, we tried. It's hard. It's just
it's hard. No, I will ask
yeah.
about it because I think that there are many costs, or what difficulties do you have?
I mean, on a tour like that, we're still working on a pretty thin margin. And a show in a territory, it has to be planned very like specifically to get to a new territory, because there's a very good chance that the show won't go well.
Yes.
And you try to hold out until you have a good indication that the show will go well or it fits into your schedule. And I think with Spain, we need the right situation to bring us down all the way, because I mean it is out of the way. It's not exactly easy to get to when you're coming down. It'd be probably more of a fly date, where you fly in, play, and then fly out. Um, but yeah, it's always on our list. We know that we need to go to Spain more. We know that we need to go back to Italy, because we haven't been to Italy in, gosh, five
Unf-
years, 6 years.
Unfortunately,
We
there are
Yeah,
many bands that in your situation, and we can
yeah,
only see in big festivals as Primavera Sound or Mad Cool or
yeah,
something like this.
yeah. And I don't know how to fix it other than to say like we need to build the community or the scene up and like take a chance on it, but we need to know that we can take a chance on it. It's a very hard, because I know bands who are much
Yeah.
bigger than us who will go to Spain and play
Spain
to 200
is
people.
the Southern Europe, and for many people is the north of Africa, because there are a long distances from German or
Yeah.
for Netherlands or any country.
Yeah. And I also wonder if it has something to do with I feel like from what I've been told is in Spain, like Spanish speaking music goes further than a lot of English speaking music. Which I don't know if it's true, but that's just what somebody's told me, what multiple people have told me. So if that's the case too, I can imagine that's also probably part of the hard part of it. But it's definitely on our list. Like I've also just never been to Spain, which makes me sad. I was supposed to go for a honeymoon and we like just like disaster. We had like a huge expense come into our lives, so we just didn't do it. And yeah, so like it's my great shame that I've never even been to Spain, period. So I feel like that's on the list alone, let alone playing music for people there, which would be so great. And we get asked all the time, and we know we need to do it. It's about finding the right tour and the right situation where we can do it without. You want to be able to do it so you can then do it again, right? And if you do it and it fails and you lose money, it's really hard to do it again.
Yeah, I hope that in a future you can come, not in a festival, in a local venue, and
Like
we
a proper
can
show, yeah.
and we can
That'd be great.
enjoy your live show, because I feel that I would like to say that with your last album, for me was my favorite album of the year, and with No Joy for me is even better work. And
Thank you. Yeah.
yes, I think for me it will be a good pleasure when I can to see you and enjoy your songs with you, no, in the same local venue.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
that's a
think that
dream
there
for
are
us,
some
right?
people as me in Spain, because I really think that in Spain nowadays all people likes reggaeton, Latin music,
Yeah.
but there are some audience that maintain the scene alive, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, it's tough too. Yeah, it's tough to line up when music is popular in certain areas, like what yeah, just like where you fit in, right? Like if we were a different type of band, maybe we would only be in Spain and not play in Germany very often, but this is just, this type of music we play, it's just how it lines up. So we're always trying to push it and do new things, and I think a Southern European tour is definitely in order at some point.
okay. Okay, Dylan, thank you for your time. All the questions that I want to do, I did it. And
Perfect.
finally, I would like to say that for me it's a good pleasure talk with you, because I repeat, your last album for me was in pandemic time, was for one of my favorite albums. And when I heard No Joy 2 weeks ago, I sincerely feel that Spanish Love Song is one of my favorites bands actually, no? And
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Yeah, we've been trying really hard, and we're pretty proud with the new stuff. And we liked Brave Faces, but we think No Joy is better as well. So I feel like
yes,
you're on the
for
right
me,
path. Also, I just noticed this light has been flickering this entire interview, and I'm so sorry. I just looked. I was like, "What is happening?" So yeah, sorry to anybody watching this because I'm going to
no,
be just
thank you,
annoying.
thank you, Dylan, for your time, and
Of
I hope
course,
that you will come into Spain soon. Hopefully.
we got to try. I mean,
Okay.
even if it's just me on my own, I just want to visit. I just want to see stuff.
Yeah, talk with your tour manager and with your producer, and the next year
Perfect.
you had to come to Spain.
I think we have to. Okay.
Okay, Dylan.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Cheers.